Paul, what was your reaction when you saw Tyreek in handcuffs on the ground on Sunday morning?
And they said it was down the street from the stadium.
No, it was at the stadium.
It was at the stadium?
Yeah.
Man, when I first saw that, I'm trying to think, what could you have possibly done to be put in handcuffs and face down on the ground? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's usually safe for somebody committing a real crime. So I was like shocked just to see that. I know they know who Tyreek is, but that just shows you the problems that we still have in America. I swear to you, as a black man in America, even if you're poor, middle class, or even as known as Tyreek Hill, there's still issues when it comes to black people and cops. And when I saw today that same officer, one of the officers got put on administrative leave, that told me that they were in the wrong right there. So you know who Tyreek is. He's a block from the stadium. Maybe, yeah, he did get pulled over for a traffic violation. Maybe he did say something that the police didn't want to hear. But why is he handcuffed and face down on the ground? And I just think that's still disturbing to this day to see things like this.
Yeah, the entire situation is nonsense. He's right outside of the stadium. Even if you did pull him over for speeding, why is he face down on the ground for a moving violation and not having his seatbelt on? And then Calais Campbell comes up, and you put Calais Campbell in handcuffs. So you were just looking for problems. Yeah. You wanted to escalate the situation. Yeah. This was your opportunity to mess with them, and you took it. And I'm not even advocating for special treatment, which, just logically speaking, you're at the stadium. You are going to deal with the players at some points. Mm-hmm. You are going to have players driving through these barricades. That's part of the process of an NFL game at home. You absolutely know who he is. It's not even about special treatment. What is the crime here that he is face down on the ground, being asked to lay down face on the ground? You know who he is. Like, there's no way you jumped from him being face down on the ground outside of his car, outside of the stadium, without you knowing who he is. So what crime could he possibly be committing that this is necessary? And then Calais comes over to try and de-escalate it, and you put him in handcuffs. Yeah. Man of the year, 17-year NFL vet, Calais Campbell, is in handcuffs as well. It's outrageous, and I'm glad it's being handled, but that is my reaction to having been to this stadium as many times as I have and knowing exactly where this is. It's just, they knew who he was.
Yeah, I would think that you would know out of everybody on that particular team, you certainly would know who Tyreek Hill is, unless you're just under a rock somewhere and you just don't know anything about.
You do ask people for their identification, so.
Yeah, you ask them for identification, but at the same time, you asked Paul about the reaction, and my reaction is, I initially thought, okay, I'm like, all right, he was trying to get to the stadium, because I didn't know until, as the report continued to come out, that he was actually at the stadium, because initially it sounded like he might have been a block or two from the stadium. So I'm like, okay, even if you're a block or two from the stadium, there's detours set up and there's barricades, and they got guys that stand there and say, hey, can I see your orange pass? Can I see your green pass?
Yeah, that's where he was.
And so you're in that situation. Let's assume that he was speeding. He was going faster than what he should have in that particular zone 4 hours before game started, 3.5 hours before game start. There's some fans and people tailgating and things of that nature. Okay. Might have been speeding a little faster than what he should have. Okay, that's fine. You pull him over. He rolls down his windows with his tent. You look at him, you go, hey, Tyreek, how you doing, man? Slow down. I understand. What are you doing? I don't know what escalated to them taking him out of the vehicle, putting him handcuffs, and then face down on hot pavement. What is it, 100 and something in Miami right now?
Yeah.
With his body on the ground. I don't know how they even got there.
On the ground.
To that point. Now, look. Sometimes people that work in law enforcement or other occupations have jealousy and envy you, things of that nature. I could take it a lot of different ways. I've been in this situation a number of times with police at the stadium trying to get there because I'm late. I got to be in a locker room in an hour and a half, and I'm running late. So one time in Tampa, I go through, and I'm trying to explain this to a dude. but he want to be super cop. He wants to tell me, I'm like, dude, seriously? I got to go through the gate right here. He wants me to go all the way around the stadium. So I just went ahead and went through. I'm like, and I'm not, I'll deal with it when I get to the stadium. I look up, get out my car, and got police and stuff around me.
You disobeyed the cops' orders.
I did. Because I had an appointment to get to that I was running late for, and I tried to explain this to him, but he wanted to show me who was boss.
Right.
Eventually, our security de-escalated the situation. I'm like, okay, fine. I also been late, got off the highway. The police saw me. They knew. They put their sirens on and said, follow us into the stadium. We're going to get you there. Right. So they worked with me.
Right.
It happens.
Yeah.
It certainly does happen.
Yeah.
And just think, like Tyreek said, it's Tyreek Hill. So the pass is a little bit different, even though Joey say we're not looking for special treatment in this situation. No, I am.
I'm looking for special treatment.
I'm looking for special treatment. Yes, I am.
Because I might be running late.
Because I'm running late. I'm at my stadium.
Right.
Unless you just don't know football. If you don't know football, you don't know who I am.
There's four
I was about to say that. Somebody knows.
On top of that, you're working at the stadium.
Not only
you know
that.
what the players' cars look like.
Not only that.
You just do.
Not only that, his teammates rolled up.
Yeah.
See, they rolled up and was like, yo, this Tyreek Hill, what the hell are y'all doing?
To be clear, I absolutely think he should get special treatment in this situation at the stadium with the police officers that are working at the stadium.
Absolutely.
I absolutely think that.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that simply because a moving violation, not having a seatbelt, shouldn't land anyone face down on the grounds outside of the stadium. Like, that's the only reason I'm saying that. But they wanted,
whoever it was that made the decision to place him in handcuffs, that's what they wanted to do.
Yes.
They wanted to do that for whatever reason. Whatever the reason is, if he looked at him wrong, or he didn't sign the kid's autograph 2 years ago, whatever.
Well, there's an investigation going on right now, and obviously we're all very glad that it didn't escalate further than that, because it could have ended up very tragic based off of the energy of that situation. But Tyreek did play in the game. He scored the touchdown that jump-started Miami's comeback win. Hill celebrated the touchdown by having teammate Jalen Waddle pretend to cuff him in the back of the end zone. Do you like Tyreek's touchdown celebration, Keith?
Yeah, I do. I like it.
He being petty, but they was being petty.
Yeah, he being petty,
you know what I'm saying?
It's funny.
That's like a slap in the face right back, because this was unnecessary. So, pettiness upon pettiness.
I love it. I mean,
I think it's great.
We cope through humor and however he wants to celebrate and deal with it.
Right.
I'm with him. It's a big bleep you to the situation, as it should be, because why was any of this necessary to begin with? So
at the stadium, no, that's crazy to me. I can imagine. I think back. I just imagine the Boston Celtics telling Paul Pierce, pull over here, right in front of TD Garden or whatever that stadium is y'all got. The Garden. Hey man, you can't come in here. What you mean I can't? I'm 6'9". You know, I'm number 34.
No. Not imagine them giving him a hard time getting into the stadium. Imagine them taking him out of his car and putting him in handcuffs with 4 cops around him, having him face first outside of the ground, outside of the stadium.
I mean,
also, don't you have relationships with...
there's levels to this.
I'm not talking about the levels, boy.
Tyreek Hill is a pretty big deal.
He might not. Tyreek is short. He blend in.
He's driving a McLaren.
Don't you have relationships
He's in a sports car.
Yes, absolutely. And the police officers at the stadium as well?
Oh, my God, yeah. Because most of the police officers that I've run into contact with, wherever I'm at, whether I'm in a stadium or just in the streets.
He definitely got arrested.
Man, we're not talking about me getting arrested. I've been in jail, yes. And I was a kid, adolescent in South Central LA. Leave me alone, Paul. Anyway, most of the policemen that I've come into contact with in my life, since I've been a personality, whether it was on television or playing football, they knew that I played football. And if they didn't, they got my ID and they looked at it and realized, oh, okay. They knew who he was. There's no question about it. They can't, there's no way, like you said, Joy, there's 4 of them.
Right.
It may be more somewhere in the vicinity. You can't tell me one of them, just one, didn't realize. And if they didn't realize at the time, his teammates came up and vouched for him.
There's zero benefit of the doubt, because even if none of them knew, which I would never believe.
Never.
You're working at the stadium.
Yes, exactly.
This is the stadium. There are cars coming in
Yes.
here. He is driving a specific way. You pulled him over. You looked at his ID. He certainly told you who he was.
Absolutely.
So there's no shot at all, 0% you didn't know who he was. And even before his teammates got there, there are people coming by yelling at you out of the car and recording you, saying who it is. So absolutely no, zero benefit of the doubt in that way. Paul, are you hopeful he can turn it into something positive?
I mean, I don't see, how do you turn this into a positive? This is going to be forever on my social media now. Like, there has to be something else that's coming out after, like an apology or something that, I really can't think of nothing, because to me, I just don't see how you turn this into positive. Now, Tyreek say, I can use my platform to do something positive. This is still gonna be engraved in my head.
Right.
Like, and I still, as a black person in America, I get scared when the police get behind me. Like even if I'm not speeding, I get scared. I mean, that's just the reality that we live in. And so, you know, I guess for young black kids that are watching this, just do what you're told, de-escalate the situation as fast as possible to try not to get in handcuffs or put yourself in a situation, but you can say these things, but it just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens.
What's the name? In Miami-Dade County, is that?
Yes. Dade County.
Dade County Police Department. Is that
Yeah.
what it's?
I don't know if that was the police department that was running it, but I'm assuming that it was.
Okay, so anyway, Joy and Paul, I think there could be something positive that comes out of it. The fact that this has happened to Tyreek Hill, there could be a certain form of training to these particular officers that could teach them how to handle situations that they face with like this. It certainly can happen and become a positive if they're willing to do that. If they're willing to do it. I don't know if they'd be willing to do it or not, because it seems like to me that the police union has already come out.
Yeah, they put out a statement.
Yeah, put out a statement trying to say that he was uncooperative and it just kind of, I guess I would call it, I'm assuming they would say belligerent, and not doing what he's, commands are, those sort of things. But there could be something positive that come out of it, because there's certain training that can go with this. And if that training helps this situation, so we're not sitting around talking about this next year or the year after, something positive can come out of it. Shouldn't have happened in the first place.
I mean, good on him. I don't, that he is saying something positive about it. I don't know how many of these situations we need to have before we have to stop trying to find ways to get
in the stadium, though,
and do more training. And it's not illegal to question why you've been pulled over. I don't know how you get on face first on the ground outside of the stadium in handcuffs. I don't know why. I just.
No, I'm with you 1,000%.
What is the banding of brothers? Like, people, the bad apples thing, like, that's not an occupation where you can have bad apples.
No, it's not.
There's just some jobs that can't have bad apples.
No, it's not.
Police are one of them. I don't know how we keep having this conversation.
It is mind-boggling to me more so.
I mean, I know how, but it's just very frustrating.
Yeah, it's because it's in the stadium. That's why I'm like, because it just makes no sense. If you told me, like I said earlier, a couple blocks away, and then they act a certain way, okay. But he's in the stadium. He's in his home. That's his home. That's the stadium Tyreek has built recently. That's the crazy part. Because you can't tell me that they don't have some of them flags
with his
face up on them, with the jersey. You can't tell me that. And the fact that fans and players are coming to his aid and you ignoring them, and to the point that you put Calais Campbell in handcuffs and on the sidewalk with him.
The Calais part, to me, is just the added. If we didn't already know the situation was completely chaotic and there was already an agenda, putting Calais Campbell in handcuffs is.
That's what I'm saying, so I don't see.
I'm running out of words. Walter Payton Man of the Year, 17-year NFL vet Calais Campbell, like.
I'm trying to make it as positive as possible, though, Paul.
I'm trying.
I'm trying to say it.
I don't think I'm trying to be positive. I'm just trying to get through this. And yes, it's a very unfortunate situation, and unfortunate is not the word I want to use.
It's just embarrassing.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.